We'll record this for posterity as well. My favorite student. Good old Anne. She gets everything right. So, some of you still haven't got the... whatever. If by tomorrow you still cannot find the correct equation, you need to hit me up during Flex Blocks next week and I can help you, or after school, because that's the scale we're at. If by next week, Friday, you still can't rewrite the equations, you want to hit me up during a Flex Block and I can help you with it. Now, ideally, most of you are at both stages now. But if you're not, don't freak out. That's part of what this quiz is assessing. I'm looking for an equation that has a VF, a VI, an A, and a T in it. There is one. It's this here. VF equals VI plus AT. I need to rewrite it to get the T by itself. Well, the VF is going to drop down like a domino. I do my adding and subtracting next, minus VI. Then I do my dividing. T is going to be equal to that. And that's typically the order my brain does these as well. You'll see I've learned I'm going to want to write the thing by itself on the left, so I always indent a little bit. I rewrite the equation, and then instead I put the thing back on the left. What was V final? 24.6. V initial, 3.2. A, 2.5. If this was a word problem, it would have said something like this. A car starts off at 3.2 meters per second. How long will it take to reach 24.6 meters per second if it can only accelerate at 2.5 meters per second squared? Is this a fraction? Yeah, brackets around the top. Divided by, Mr. Duick? Minus, good thing I caught that. Divided by, don't need brackets around the bottom, only one thing. If you have 8.56, you get 2 out of, if you have 8.56, that gets you 1.5 units, seconds. That gets you 2 out of 2. So the way I mark these, if you got that right, 2 out of 2. No units, half mark off, or wrong units, half mark off. Otherwise, I would give you half mark for that, half mark for that, half mark for the numbers, and a half mark for the answer. In other words, Lorenzo, if you are able to find the correct equation and rewrite it, you've passed the quiz. You don't even have to know how to do anything else. I'm focused on the process. I really, honestly, well, what's the answer worth? Half out of 2. The answer is worth almost nothing. I don't care about that. I care about getting there. Number 2. I got a D, a VI. Oh, this one's going to be nice. I can use D equals VIT plus a half AT squared. I got to get the D by itself. Knock, knock. Who's there? It already is. That you zing over here. Okay. It's going to be VI. I guess we started out going backwards. 19 is T plus 0.5. We're traveling backwards, but we're accelerating forwards, which means I think we're going to end up slowing down, coming to a stop, and then starting to go forwards. We might even end up in front of where we started from. I don't know. 19 squared. Negative 8.5 times 19 plus 0.5 times 2.5 times 19 squared. And I get, you get 289.75, or am I wrong? Okay. By the way, technically, how many sig figs should I go to in this answer? So if you said 209.75, full marks, I'm going to write 290. Units. Mr. Duick, isn't that 3 sig figs? No. That would be 3 sig figs. That is 2 sig figs. Units, distance. Meters. Dope. So 2 marks if you got that. Otherwise, in this case, since you didn't have to rearrange the equation, I would give you 1 whole mark for finding the equation, half mark for the numbers, half mark for the answer. What I'm really telling you, by the way, Brady, this year, never leave a test question blank. That's the only thing that'll actually make me a little grumpy bear. I'll become Mr. Grumpy Pants if you leave something blank, because then you're saying to me, I didn't even have any idea where to start. Mr. Duick, I know you taught me to write something down. I wasn't paying attention. I couldn't find out what you wanted me to. I'm trying to give you strategies so that you never leave a test blank. And Once you've written something, then it goes better, I think. Number 3. Same equation, isn't it? D equals VIT plus a half AT squared. Ethan, what are we trying to get by itself? Really? This is a tricky one. I'll put a little dot right there. What's going to drop down like a domino, Ethan, my friend? I agree. Then what? I do any adding or subtracting. See the VI? Something is being added to it. What's being added to it? Half AT squared. That whole thing is one thing. Half AT squared. Although instead of a 1/2, what am I going to write instead, Ethan? So I'm going to minus a 0.5 AT squared. In my mind, I'm going to see the VIT is still left there. Ethan, how would I get the VI by itself? What do I do with that T that's right next to it? So are you telling me that's another equation? It is. Am I telling you don't memorize it? Please don't. I'm not even wild. I had one kid last year wrote all of these down on their formula sheet, and by the end of the year, their formula sheet looked like their pencil had puked on the page because there was so much stuff everywhere. I'm not even wild about even adding these to your sheet. It's going to become so cluttered. You'll spend so much time searching through the whole mess trying to find that one specific equation. Don't do that. This is better. D, negative 70. I guess we started 70 meters behind the start line. Minus 0.5 A. We're accelerating backwards, which suggests we're going to end up even further behind. T, 24 squared all over 24. Little reminder, I write brackets to show multiplying when I'm handwriting, but you've noticed the only brackets that I tend to use on my calculator, big bracket around the top, then I'll go negative 70 minus 0.5. I'll hit times instead of bracket. Negative 4.8 times instead of bracket. 24 squared. Close off the top. Divided by 24. Do you get 54.683333? 2 sig figs. 2 sig figs. 55. I'll write 54.7 because some of you are creeped out by that round. Oh, you know what? I'm going to write this 54.7, which is 55 units meters per second. I'll take 54.7. I'll take. By the way, what I would not take would be 54.6. I'd take a half mark off, and I'd say, "Oh, for Pete's sakes, learn to round off." Math 8. Is that okay? As before, half mark, half mark, half mark, half mark for the answer. Can we agree it's going to be that for the rest of the quiz? And can I just stop saying that over and over and over? Okay. Can we agree it's going to be that for the rest of the year? With me, Alan? Sit up. Don't look at your phone or anything foolish like that. You awake? You're on deck. Ready, Colby? I'm looking for an equation that has a VF, a VI, an A, and a D in it. There is one. How to get the VF by itself. Isn't it by itself, Mr. Dewick? Not quite. The VF squared is by itself. Square root. And the way I show that, I cross out the squared. And I think I told you at the end of the square root, I've never seen this in textbooks. I stole this from a smart teacher. I put a little downward slash. That tells me, that little thing right there tells me that's where the square root ends. That's how, when I'm looking at really complicated stuff, Justin, I know what's inside and what's outside the square root. And we will be getting really complicated stuff. When we get to Einstein, his stuff has all sorts of squareds and therefore all sorts of square roots in it. 28 squared plus 2. We're accelerating forward at 9.8. 152. The square root of that mess. How am I going to type that? Now, those of you that have those nice Casios with the orange buttons, I think when you hit the square root button, it actually does a little indent and automatically extends the line. Good on ya. For me, when I have complicated square roots, rather than trying to track it all in brackets, I type what's inside the square root first. 28 squared plus 2 times 9.8 times 152. I then hit equals, and then I go square root answer button. I think I went on a rant the other day. You all learned where your answer button was, yes? You get 61.34, 61.3, 61, but I'll go 61.3, am I right? Two marks. You'd get 1 mark for, half mark for writing VF squared equals VI squared plus 2AD, half mark for inserting the square root and canceling out the squared, half mark for the numbers, half mark for the answer. And then you would turn the page. Same equation, I think. Mr. Dweck? Yeah, Gio. What if I was able to rewrite the equation without writing that one? Go ahead. On a quiz or a test, I tend to show more work. In my homework, I would try and do as much as I could in my head. I attach the answers for that reason, so you can check, I got it right, or, I better write this out because I'm way off. Is that okay, Dom? What are we trying to get by itself here? The A. Brady, what's going to drop down like a domino? Then what? Why not minus the 2A? What's the 2A? First of all, what's the 2D doing to the A? It's timesing. So I'm not going to minus that. But I do my adding and subtracting first if I can. The VI squared is being added. I'll subtract it. What do I do with the 2 and the D? As we say, divided by. And I'll put the A equals there. So, Brady, what was my initial velocity in this question? What was my final velocity in this question? Am I speeding up or slowing down? Am I expecting a positive acceleration or negative acceleration? So when I get a negative, will I freak out? No. In fact, if I got a positive, I'd freak out. 22 squared minus 40 squared, brackets around the top, divided by bracket 2 times 96, close bracket. Do y'all get negative 5.8125? I'll go negative 5.8. By the way, technically, that 40, how many sig figs? 1. Technically, I should say negative 6. Technically. I'll go negative 5.8 meters per second squared. Number 6. Ethan, which equation, my friend? Why is this equation so tough to get the t by itself, Ethan? How many t's are there in the original equation? Right now, you guys cannot get 2 different t's, one that's a squared and one that's just a plain old t by themselves. You're going to learn something in Math 11 called the quadratic formula, which will help you do it. So why did I give you this? What did you notice, Ethan, my friend, about one of the values? What's 0? The VI is 0? Ethan, in your head, what's 0 times 5? Ethan, in your head, what's 0 times 10? Ethan, in your head, what's 0 times t? So this whole mess, because of that, will vanish. And I end up with D equals, there's an A, there's a T, there's a squared, there's a 1, and a 2. What are we trying to get by itself, Brady? I got to be fussy. No, not the T squared. Just the T. Okay. What's going to drop down like a domino? Stays where it is. Now, what's that 1 doing to the T? Technically, it's multiplying, so technically I would divide, but will a 1 change anything at all? I ignored that one. I ignored it. What will I do with the A? Can you just say divide from now on? But I like your style. What am I going to do with the 2? And that would give me a T squared. How would I get rid of a squared? And Ethan, that's what you came up with earlier today too. That, by the way, shows up an awful lot in the next few days. We're going to be looking at a lot of situations where we want to find time and where VI is 0. When is VI 0? Anytime we drop something. We're going to start looking at free fall. If you jump out of an airplane, your initial velocity is 0 for a split second. 240 divided by 10. 2 times 240 divided by 10 equals, and then I go square root answer button. It's going to be 6.9. Yeah, because square root of 49 is 7, so a little less than 7. 3 sig figs, so technically 6.93. I would take 6.9. If you wrote 6.92, I'm taking a half mark off. Units. Meters, Mr. Duick? Seconds. Time. Two more, we're done. Ah! Here we go. Wait for it, Hannah. Ah, you're welcome. You're awake now, aren't you? Did I get you? I haven't got you for a while. I think I geo jumped this time. There you go. Geo, which equation am I going to use for number 7? Yeah. Yep. I don't like that equation much. It's one of the ones that makes me uncomfortable, partly because we don't use it much, but that's okay. What are we trying to get by itself? Hey, folks, what's going to drop down like a domino? The D. Then what? What's that 2 doing to the T? Dividing. How would I move it over? Now, you ready? You ready? What's that bracket doing to the T? Multiplying. How will I move that bracket over? That equals T. Or T equals that. Two times 2400, all divided by 5.5 plus 20. How long would it take to travel 2,400 meters if you started at 5.5 meters per second and you finished at 20 meters per second? That's really, if I gave you that as a word problem, it would look something like that. Bracket 2 times 2400, close bracket, divided by bracket, 5.5 plus 20. To make a typo, close off the bracket. Do y'all get 188.2, 188? Yeah? 188 seconds. Ibrahim, which equation can I use for number 8? Same one? But this is the nasty one because the VI is inside the brackets. Okay. Well, I've told you, you kind of do reverse BEDMAS. So if BEDMAS you learn in school, you normally do what's inside the brackets first. We're going to do what's inside the brackets last. We're going to do our multiplying and dividing first. I think, Ibrahim, I'm going to have that. I'm going to have that. And what I end up with is 2 times D over T. That equals VI plus VF. How would I move the VF over? Something like that. So, VI is going to be 2 times D, 120, divided by T, 12, minus 24. 2 times 120 divided by 12. My calculator, if I now go minus 24, knows those are separate expressions. On some of your crappier calculators, You might have to hit equals here and then do that. I think it might be yours, as a matter of fact, I think. You get -4? Well, you know what? All that means is, I guess I started out going in which direction? Backwards. Okay. I was in reverse, going at -4 meters per second. Can you give yourself, please, a lovely score at the top of the quiz out of 16? And if you need to come lawyer with me, now is the time.